I have this old shirt that I've had kicking around forever. I don't wear it anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it up into strips. I'm going to actually cut a little bit and then rip the strips so they have jagged edges. I have a bunch of other scrap clothing that I have and old dish towels laying around that I don't use anymore, and I'm going to cut those up as well. I'm going to cut them into strips. Starting with 11 inches, I want 10 of those, and then I'm going to work my way down to 5-inch strips. You want 10 of each size. So 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5. 10 of each. Then I'm going to take this old birch log and I'm going to drill a hole into the bottom, and then this old spindle, and I'm going to shove it right into the hole. It fits nice and tight, so I don't need any glue. Then I'm going to take my strips of fabric and I'm going to tie simple knots around the spindle. I'm going to make sure that I turn the fabric so that they're not all overlapping at the same spot, and I'm going to continue working my way up the spindle starting with the 11 inch at the bottom, going all the way up to 5 at the top. Then I'm going to finish this off with a nice Christmas bow, and I'm going to add a star at the top. I had this rustic star cutout, and I'm going to make it look old. So I'm going to paint it with brown paint, sprinkle it with cinnamon and nutmeg, and then continue this process over and over again until I have the desired look. I'm going to re-stipple with brown paint just to add some definition on the edges to make it look really old and rustic. Then once it's dry, I'm going to come in with this paint marker and I'm just going to add some primitive detailing around the edges. Once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto the top of the spindle using some super glue. You want a lot of super glue at the top so it stays, and then secure it with a clamp while it's drying. This is the finished rustic primitive tree. I think this is so cute, and it is a great way to use up scrap material that you have laying around. I headed to Google and I printed out on plain computer paper some vintage looking Christmas sheet music. Then I used a jaggedy edge paper trimmer to cut some squares in varying sizes. So I had larger sizes, medium sizes, and then some really tiny squares. Then I took this little wooden cup that I had in my craft supplies, and then I drilled a hole into the bottom. I used a tiny dowel and secured it with a little bit of super glue and pushed it back in. Then I'm going to take my larger pieces of sheet music, and then just using my drill bit, I'm just going to pre-poke a hole so it doesn't rip the paper, and I'm going to slide it down onto the dowel. I'm going to continue doing this for a couple times, and then I'm going to add in a little wooden bead in between each different size of sheet music. I'm going to continue doing this, working my way up from the bigger pieces all the way up to the smaller pieces with the beads in between. Once I get to the top, I'm going to finish it off with a wooden bead and then this little plastic snowflake. I'm going to add some glue to the back of the snowflake and as well to the dowel, and then secure it in place with a little clip just while the glue is drying. Then I'm going to come in with this tacky glue and a paintbrush, and just on the edges of the sheet music, I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and then I'm going to sprinkle this diamond dust over top. This is going to add a nice little shimmer to the edges of the sheet music. I'm going to shake off the excess, and then this is the finished project. These are so cute and vintage, and they look so adorable here on my piano, and this is such an easy project that anyone can do. Using some thick canvas fabric, I'm going to cut out 2 triangles of the exact same size. I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 triangles and I'm going to glue them together right sides in. I'm going to be using Gorilla fabric glue. This stuff has a really strong hold. You could also sew this as well. You're going to go up and down the sides of the triangle and the bottom, but making sure to leave about a 3-inch gap in the middle of the bottom of the triangle. Then you're going to place the pieces together and you're going to use your hands to smooth out the glue, making sure there are no holes in the seam. Once the glue has had sufficient time to dry, you're going to flip it right side out and then use a pencil to push the tip of the triangle out. I have this old lace fabric curtain that I've had laying around forever. I'm going to cut out some detailing of the lace, and I'm going to use my fabric glue again to glue it onto the triangle. I'm going to give this sufficient time to dry as well, and then once it's dry, I'm going to cut off the edges that are overhanging, and I'm going to come in with some cotton batting and stuff the triangle. You don't want to overstuff this. Then I have this old spindle that I'm going to just place in the middle, using the same Gorilla Glue fabric glue to seal the edges around the spindle. And then these are my finished fabric trees. I think these are so cute for Christmas and a great way to use up old scrap fabric that you may have laying around and old wooden pieces that you can use for the tree base.
I'm beginning with the Dollar Tree Christmas tree, and the first step is to disassemble the tree entirely. Now that the tree is completely disassembled, I'm going to be using 3 of the 15-foot garlands. I am using the white branches from the original tree to measure out multiple branches at the same length from my garland. Take twine from the Dollar Tree and 3 of the branches to combine them into a fork-type shape. Now that my branches are bundled together, I'm moving on to the next step of mixing together a combination of flocking powder and fake snow in a container. Once the branch is completely covered, dip or coat the branch in the flocking powder, and you're going to repeat this step many more times, and you're going to want to let the branches dry overnight. Take the original metal rod that was part of the original tree, some twine, and a few loose branches to create a bundle for the top of the tree. I'm simply adding to the bundle, wrapping with my twine around that metal rod, and continuing the process all the way down until I run out of branch bundles. Secure the bottom of the twine with a little hot glue. Use a popsicle stick, cut it in half. From there, take a plastic bowl, and I'm going to flip it upside down and hot glue the popsicle stick to the bottom part of the cup. I glued the base of the cup to the bottom of the bowl. Mix together plaster of Paris with water as directed on the package. You're going to pour the mixture and give it plenty of time to completely harden. Take a couple pieces of burlap, gather and wrap the burlap around the base to cover the bowl completely. Using a piece of rope from Dollar Tree, wrap it around to secure the burlap and tie it in a bow. I hope this inspired you to try this DIY Dollar Tree farmhouse Christmas tree project.
Begin with a Dollar Tree square wreath form. You will take some wire cutters and cut through the 3 wires at one corner. Then go to the opposite corner and cut through those 3 wires. Grab a Dollar Tree pool noodle and slide it into the curved part of your remaining frame. Use a sharp knife to trim the pool noodle to fit within the frame. You're going to use pipe cleaners to secure the pool noodle to the frame. Use 2 evergreen garlands to wrap around the frame and the pool noodle to cover up both of them. Take a Dollar Tree white Christmas tree, fluff the tree, and lay it along one side of your frame on top of the green garland. Using white pipe cleaners, wrap them around the tree and the pool noodle and frame. Now we get to decorate. I used silver ornaments from Dollar Tree and some silver branches. Now we have to cover up those pool noodle ends. Now it's time to hang them and display them. I used 1 command hook on each side just above my doorway entrance. Can you believe these beautiful decorations were made completely from Dollar Tree supplies? Just beautiful.